Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my April wrap-up. I almost said May. No, wrong month. But I'm here with my April wrap-up. I did better than I expected this month, considering it was 30 and 30. And again, you got 3 vlogs out of me this month, which means I was doing things again, which means vlogs. So because of that, I did read a good bit actually. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I had some favorites, some standouts, and some okay reads. For the most part, it was good reads though. So that's the good news. It was mostly books I enjoyed. So let's just dive right into stats because there's nothing else to really talk about. So I read 10 books in April for a total of 3,206 pages, which feels really good. My average rating was a 4.5. A 4.5. Now, I'm not 100% sure how right that is because I do think there's a book on here that I need to drop the rating on a little more, but still, a 4.5. What dreams are made of, you know? So I also listened to 57.5-ish hours of audiobooks this month, which feels about right. All the titles I read were adult titles, and format-wise, it was 5 ebooks and 5 audiobooks, which also feels really good. I've really been trying to get back into my audiobook listening. It's just not been, my brain's just not, vibing with it completely all the time. It's also not necessarily completely vibing with eyeball reading constantly either. So it's weird. I feel weird about it. It'll be fine. We'll get there. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. And I'm pretty dang happy about this. Let's discuss the 10 books I read and see where I kind of stand with them. First up, the first book I finished in April was Face Off by Chelsea Curto. I really liked this. This is what kind of spawned the purchasing I did this month, where I have basically acquired, no, not basically, I have acquired every single indie print edition of that series. That's kind of why I ended up buying all of the books in this series. When I was at indie bookstores this month, I was just like, I really liked book 1. Let's just preemptively buy the series. This is a good plan I have. I also believe this series has been picked up in the US if I remember correctly. But Face Off was fun. So listen, here's what I'm going to tell you. Face Off, for my hockey romance reader pals, is for people who are open to something different, okay? And you have to be open to something different because our heroine plays hockey too and gets pulled into the NHL, whatever type, the Major League Hockey world to play for a team. You have to be open to that. Yes, I understand that generally that would be very difficult to do. I do think some women hockey players could play circles around the men currently playing. That's my hot take. You can yell at me in the comments if you disagree, but I don't think I'm wrong because I think they're better skaters. I also think they just have a little bit more stick finesse, handling finesse than some of the men do. This book has that. So you have to be open to that concept, right? That she is going to be playing on a team with men against men predominantly. We have a special guest while I talk about this book. Anyways, I think that it's a fun concept and it breaks up some of the monotony you can see in a sports romance. So I enjoyed it. We do have a reformed Playboy hero and we have a heroine who is very much take no shit, and I loved their dynamic. I giggled, I kicked my feet. I'm excited to read book 2. I'm debating if I want to return all my KU books and check out new books so I can start fresh again, because I just had so much fun with this one. And I was like, well, I'm not supposed to check out KU books until I finish what I have, right? And that means I can't read more of the series, and I kind of want to, but we'll see. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4, 4.5. Again, it kind of broke up the monotony of some hockey romances sometimes, which, listen, like any sports romance, I'm reading it with the sport as the background for the most part. I'm not here for the sport to be center stage, but I felt like this did a pretty, I felt like this did a pretty good job of it. Peace is trying to knock my tripod around, so I'm death gripping it in place. Yeah, so we follow their romance and behind the scenes. I will say, I will also note on this one, I had some anxiety around the 3rd act as we approached it because I thought we were going to have a big outing of their relationship situation. That does not happen. So that was really great. All right, next we have the project I've been working on that you're going to get this month, the first book in that one, which is The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating and Other War Crimes. And I say it in the vlog. I'm not going to extensively go into this one because, like I said, you're getting a vlog in May for it. This was a big surprise to me. This gave me the energy I'd wanted from the Assistant to the Villain series because there's actual kissing and boning on page. There's actual things happening on page with their relationship. I don't know if I care enough to read book 2. I'm semi-satisfied with book 1's ending. But I might. I could see myself getting it from the library on audio and listening to it at some point, but this was fun. I thought it was a nice little romp of an adventure where he is I have to find a wife, and he kidnaps her, and it's her kind of pushing back and this a lot of bantery back and forth and them navigating what is this going to be and what does this look like, while also discovering some secrets about her and her lineage and perhaps her actual like abilities. So I really liked this. I thought it was fun. It was fun and enjoyable at the end of the day. And I think it's one that, like, if you, like me, did not like Assistant to the Villain, you might like this one more. And if you liked it, you probably will also like this one. But I, in particular, found the other one very, like, grating to read. Next, we have Embrace by Bel Cabra. This does not come out. I'm sorry. This does not come out until August. And I always feel, like, bad when I'm like, I read the finale to a favorite series and you can't yet. But I read the finale to a favorite series and you can't yet. This was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I do want to give some heavy notes on the content for y'all, though. And then we'll discuss the book itself. So if you aren't interested in this one, I'll have a little timestamp so you can skip ahead. But this book does have a mom with Alzheimer's, a dead parent on page, and an absentee father on page. So our heroine has the absentee father, our hero has a dead dad, and his mom has Alzheimer's. Now, I read those content notes and I was like, well, we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Baby, don't beat me. But I also, like, I had support structures around me if it was too much, and I knew I could put the book down if it was too much, and it was not. I was prepped for a lot more content to heavily feature the Alzheimer's than it did, so I was relieved about that. In fact, I felt like most of the Alzheimer's content revolved around our hero, Ian, feeling like his older sister was not allowing him to partake in the care of his mother or be informed on what was going on with his mother, and them, like, kind of protecting him because they wanted him to finish college and do all these things his dad wanted him to do, like pursue his professional hockey career and stuff. So that was more the things. So that for me was very far removed from my own personal experience with Alzheimer's. Because my whole family was very connected and in conversation at all times, pretty much, with my dad. So do keep that in mind, though. If it is fresh for you, I would not read this. I did cry a lot through it because I felt a lot of the things he was talking about losing his dad. So again, fresher to that experience, don't do it. I was about 5 months out when I read this book. I probably shouldn't have read it yet, but I did, and it's fine. I think it helped me process some things, so there's that. But yeah, so I did enjoy this. Our heroine has a father who is in prison for abusing her mother, and she's trying to reconnect with him because she feels like she's missing that, and it's that discussion. And that was really shitty and also very upsetting and hard to read. I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a hard to read one. But I will say this overall with Embrace, I felt like we wrapped up the story really nicely. It does tie perfectly in with the last book before this, Revolve, because this is the best friend of the figure skater in Revolve, and this is happening at the same time. So yeah, I really loved their romance. I really enjoyed Scarlett, our heroine, looking to, like, change her image and perception people had of her, and she kind of was adjusting what she was running from, which, like, fair. Also, it was really fun that she's the coach's, like, adopted daughter, and he is not happy to find out his new hockey captain is dating her. That's a really good and fun resolution that happens, in my opinion. So I love this. I gave it 5 or 6 stars. I can't remember which. At least 5 right now. I just thought it was a great conclusion. I'm sad to let go of these couples and their journey, but, like, I'm also really excited and curious to see what else Bel Cabra writes moving forward, because it was delightful. Okay, then I read Caught Up by Navessa Allen because I'm trying to read some of my physicals down, and that is one I own physically and audio. So for read what you own purposes, it was like, that one is a great option for you right now. So I read Caught Up, and I think I give this one like a 3.5. I do not think it is as good as Lights Out. I also still enjoyed it and had fun with it. I'm really curious to see what I think of Game On. I do see why some people didn't like this, because the book was a very pro-sex work, which I know is going to ruffle some feathers, which is bonkers to me personally as someone who reads romance, but whatever. But I did enjoy how our hero was, like, kind of in the background helping her, and she didn't really know that until towards the end. But yeah, I don't know, like, you know, it had some funny moments, it had some good bits, but it wasn't, like, as memorable for me as Lights Out was for a read. So there's that. But it was still fun. Like, I still enjoyed it. Next, I did read Prince of the Arena by Elizabeth Helen. I read this with Shay in preparation for Frozen by Starlight, which I gotta message Shay and see when we're gonna read that. Probably soon. But yeah, so I read that and I really enjoyed this. I thought it gave us a lot of insight into Dayton and Farron's, is that his name? Farron? Anyways, it gave a lot of insight to Dayton's background and history and story, and I thought that was really helpful. And it was a good novella. If you've read the series, I think, and you haven't picked up the novella yet, As long as you're through, I mean, I think it's technically a prequel, but I feel like as long as you read like the first 2 or so books, I think this is a great one to slot in and go ahead and read. It also gives you some background of all the princes having met prior and like that dynamic as well a little bit. Then you can tell this is when Love of the Night started, because then I read Fated to the Scarred Wolf by April L. Moon, which got me current on all the audiobooks for the Hunted Omega series that I am really, really enjoying. I'm a little bit sad that I don't have a release date yet for the audio of the last one, because I've been audiobooking, so I don't know that I want to pivot to read the finale. I could, like, obviously I could, but Fated to the Scarred Wolf was really interesting as well. It's an older wolf hero, and our heroine, he's like struggling to accept her liking him and being attracted to him. He ends up like kidnapped and kind of abused and scarred up from that kidnapping. And it's the two of them navigating that relationship. I really liked it. I thought it was very fun. This is like another 4-star, 4.5 maybe. And then on the same like path of like kind of rejected mates, wolf shifters, I read The Lone Wolf's Rejected Mate by Kate C. Wells. This was the next one for me to read in the 5 Packs series by Kate C. Wells. And I was like, okay, we'll dive in, right? Like, of course. And this is another one that's an age gap, so it may not work for everyone. But basically, he spots her prior to her, I think, being of age, or like right around her being 18. Or close to her being 18. And he realizes that she's his mate. She does not realize this. And he kind of tries to skirt around her and avoid her to make sure they don't actually bond. Because he's kind of this like lone wolf that lives in the woods. He could have challenged our current pack leader from book 1 for leadership, but he has no interest in that. So he doesn't want to do that. So he lives out in the woods, and she is this like whimsical 18-year-old, right? She has her room all decorated and stuff, very like aesthetically. And she has she goes into heat and they hook up, and she thinks it's him like actually making moves on her, and it's not. And it's this blowout where basically like she's like F off. But they're also solving a mystery around someone who is kidnapping and murdering the wolves. And they're trying to figure out who, and she ends up kidnapped with him, and it's their relationship. So this is one that like I think anyone who doesn't like age gap is not gonna love, because he is a good bit older than her. She's like 20 by the time all this happens. But also like there are just some really sweet moments. I enjoyed it, but I also don't expect kindness from my Rejected Mates books necessarily, because there's always a reason they rejected the mate, and you never know exactly why. And I feel like there has to be a good grovel and some like unkindness towards each other and being assholes a little bit. So I expect that, and I don't mind it. I gave this also like a 4.5. Okay, next I have another series that I finished, which is The Survival of the Mated by Lola Glass. The third book, Heat and Hard Candies. Yeah, something like that. It's this one. Didn't love this one. Don't recommend. I don't know that this is like the series I would recommend most people try Lola Glass with, because I do feel like this one has just like, it has its problems. I've been enjoying them as quick palate cleansers. They were coming out, the audios, like once a month, so I was just kind of quickly picking them up and like reading them because they're short and then moving on. This one I didn't love. So our heroine like watched the show, knew who she wanted, pursued him relentlessly. It just felt weird and rushed and not like really not great. So I ended up giving it like a 3. So there's that. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. It was literally a 2-hour audiobook. It was very blah. Then I read Portal to Pleasure, and I loved it. This is the sequel to Portal to Pleasure, hence the 2 in the title on this one. This was so fun. So basically she uses a card when she's getting off to summon a demon, and when she orgasms she has to yell his name. She does. 2 demons show up, 2 monsters show up, an orc and an incubus. And lo and behold, she has a good time. Her friend had summoned 3 on accident prior, so she knew what was coming, kind of. But yeah, it's basically just her getting her back blown out repeatedly in the best ways. It was a great time. If you want a smutty monster romance and you're looking for one, this series in general I can't recommend enough. So go forth, have fun, because I sure did. There's not a lot to say about it other than that, but I did give it like a 5-star. So there's that. The last thing I read this month was A Pack for Summer by Lana Lee. This comes out in June, like June 16th. I really enjoyed the conclusion to the Cozyverse series. I don't think the last... So I think it's funny. I think book 2 and book 4 are like not as strong, which is both different authors. Book 1 and book 4 I think are not as strong, which is 2 different authors. So book 4 we follow Summer, who's opened her Buns Out bakery and like sandwich shop, and she ends up with a patisserie opening next door, and she's very upset about it. and it's one of the boys that used to live in the cursed house that we've been following. So like that part of this was interesting and I liked. I felt like some of the promised tropes were not delivered as heavily as I would have expected them to be in an omegaverse, personally, because we had like free use as a thing, and it was like twice, maybe. I don't know. I wanted a little more delivery on some of the tropes that were in the like little graphic, right? But I still really liked it. I still gave it like a 4.5. I still think it's a strong conclusion to the series. I still think it's a fun conclusion to the series. Overall, these are just kind of fun because they take place over a year, and we have our town mayor that's a cat that's magical and pairing these girls off. But yeah, I didn't like hate this one by any means, but I didn't love this one like I thought I would. I did like the connection here though, where Summer and one of the heroes would like eat lunch together and hang out in the library together, and that was really cute. And then he like vanished, and then obviously he's come back and she's like, oh my god, he's back. I also really liked that the beta in this one, he like heard her stop singing and ran into her business because he realized something was wrong, and that something was that her business was being flooded due to a broken pipe, and that was really fun. And then like she has to work out of his shop is what they end up agreeing to, and living with them because her apartment is above her shop. So that forced proximity element was fantastic also. And I did like our grumpy hero. So like, as I say, like I didn't love it as much. I still enjoyed all 4 of these books. Like they all were quite fun in my opinion, and definitely lean on the cozier side of omegaverse, which is what I tend to like to read. So yeah, I had a good time with this, but it was not, I don't know that this one is my favorite of the series. I think my favorites are book 2 and 3. So fall and spring. No, winter and spring are my favorites of the 2 books, of the 4 books in the series. So that's kind of fascinating. Like the middle 2 are where I like really enjoyed myself. But yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed this, and I did read it now because Herkyet is approaching the end, and I knew that I needed to finish the book now, not later. So there's that. I think it was a fun conclusion, and I think it was fun seeing all of the girls get their packs in this series. So I don't know, it may have also kickstarted my omegaverse mood because I did just get another audiobook that's omegaverse from NetGalley, because I have a problem, and that problem is sometimes I just want to read omegaverse. So yeah, here we are. Anyways, I would love to know how your April reading went. What did you read? What did you love? Did you have any least favorites? Any DNFs? I'm kind of shocked I didn't DNF anything this month, so I feel like I'm gonna have a reckoning of DNFs in May because the last 2 months have been pretty chill. So yeah, let me know that down below. If you don't do any of that, you can leave me a sunshine emoji because it may be 60 some degrees outside, but it is sunny and beautiful out. I had to like wait for people to stop mowing their yards so I could film. You can find links as always to all these books down below, links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days in my next video. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.